All right, and we should be live, and we are live. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another RSG stream. I'm Ranger J 1999. Joining me, as always, is my heterosexual life partner, Dr. Finn Medicine Woman.
Howdy.
And we are here to talk about...
We have another guest, too, here.
Oh, we do have another guest.
We have the fourth Hokage.
Fourth Hokage is here. Fourth Hokage, what's going on, buddy?
Nothing much, man. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing good, and we are here to talk about the rise of Skywalker. Just a warning, there are spoilers ahead, so you've been warned. We're going to be spoiler. So make sure that if you have not seen the movie, stop what you're doing, unless you like spoilers, but stop what you're doing, go watch the movie, and then come on back. We're going to be right here. We're not going anywhere. And then right after this, I'm so excited. We've got Santa Durkin coming in as these guys go play Human Fall Flat?
That is correct.
All right. And that's going to be on YouTube or Twitch?
That will be on Twitch.
Okay, so we can go watch Human Fall Flat with Santa Durkin. I'm so excited for that. So that'll be coming up next. So that being said, welcome here. We're going to get into this movie. I will just start off saying I love the movie. I know it has some flaws. I don't care. This movie gave me the feels. I love this movie. It was really good. I mean, there's some stuff that happens, and I just didn't care because the emotion that I felt watching this movie and the fun I had watching this movie really worked for me. It really did. I mean, I've seen the complaints, and I've seen some of the people that don't like it, and I totally get. I get it. Like, I'm not so far in my Star Warsism that I can't sit there and go, no, you're wrong. But I thought it was fun. I enjoyed it. I had the feels. I mean, I thought this was a really good movie. So, Finn, what did you think? Your overall first impression of the movie?
I thought it was a really good movie. It did leave me with a lot of questions, but to be fair, even when I watched the original trilogy, I came away with some questions, right? Trying to figure out where they left some holes and that kind of stuff. And really, even when we watched the original trilogy, the answers about a lot of the stuff came in the prequel trilogy that came out later. So nothing unusual to me anyways of the question about the questions that I had afterwards. And we'll obviously talk a little bit more in detail about it. But yeah, overall, I think they did a good job. And as weird as it is, a lot of what episode 9 did negated a lot of what happened in episode 8.
Yes, except for a couple things, and we'll get into that. But
yeah,
we're going to get into that talk here. And it's just, we're going to be all over the place, guys. I'm not going to go chronologically through this movie. We're just going to talk about some things that I saw, and we'll discuss it, and we'll just kind of have a conversation here. Fourth Hokage, what did you think of the movie?
I loved it. They gave me the one thing I wanted in a movie since the beginning of my Star Wars fandom. They gave me a yellow lightsaber.
Yes, that was an amazing scene. Yes, indeed. So you like the movie? I can tell a little. But...
Yes, very much so. I'm kind of like in the boat with you are. You know, I had some issues here and there, but it's like, you know what? I don't care. I enjoyed the ride.
Yeah, I did too. I mean, some of the stuff I understand some of the people like, let's just start talking about a Palpatine. First thing, the dead speak. It's like, okay, that opens a whole book of like, well, where the hell's he been? How did he survive the Death Star? It just goes online. And I just didn't care. I'd still have those questions, but I just didn't care. Because, for me, this movie's about two main things that really drew me in. One was Kylo Ren and Rey's relationship. I thought Adam Driver and Daisy Ridley, man, there were some powerful moments between those two. And then I loved that they had, for the first time, and I was waiting for this, Poe, Rey, and Finn, our main characters, along with Chewie, running around doing stuff together, and I thought their chemistry was fantastic. I mean, I really, really, really enjoyed those two. I thought Adam Driver was phenomenal as Kylo Ren. He really, man, I mean, that dude, he's an incredible actor. Good Lord. I mean, I really loved his performance. I loved Daisy Ridley's performance. What stood out to you, Finn? What were a couple things that really stood out to you that you really liked from the movie? I mean, the Palpatine stuff, for me, I mean, there's a lot of unbelievable stuff that happens. I mean, for the first time in ever, we have forced teleportation, where one object goes from one person to the next. Didn't quite get that. The other stuff made total sense. Force healing has been around for a long time. It's a thing. So that didn't really shock me at all. But the force teleportation, I was like, oh, well, I don't care. But Finn, what were some of the things that you really enjoyed?
So maybe this is more of a reaction to something outside of the specifics of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I was happy for the actress that played Rose.
Yeah.
They put her in a role that didn't make her seem all crazy.
No.
And like codependent on Finn. And at the end, where there's actually a scene where Finn is obviously going to go do something dangerous, Rose this time did not like suicide bum rush him to try and stop him or anything. I was like, this is at least a nice recovery for... And I feel bad for the actress because a lot of people don't separate the character of Rose. Like, if the character of Rose was awful, I really don't care. I felt bad for the actress getting like hate mail from Star Wars people, like not being able to separate the actress from the character. And I think episode 9 helped with that because Rose was actually kind of in a leadership role for a lot of this, right? She wasn't necessarily a general, but you could see she was kind of leading stuff at the base with alongside like Maz Kanata and Leia.
I love seeing Maz there too.
Yeah, I know. Maz Kanata may have been one of like my favorite people in that whole base that entire time. Like, she just had everything. Like, she knew everything. It was awesome. But yeah, so I was happy to see the character of Rose be put in a light that didn't necessarily destroy the actress again.
Yeah.
And that, so
yes.
Yeah.
All right, Fourth Akagi, what were some things that you really enjoyed from this movie?
The Han and Kylo scene, man. It didn't hit me
Oh,
as hard
God.
in episode 7. In this movie, man, I felt every second of it.
Oh my God, that part hit me hard too. When Leia, the fight scene on Endor between Kylo and Rey, so good. And when Leia reached out and caused Ben to freeze, then Rey stabs him, hits her that she died, and that moment between them. Just powerful stuff all around. I mean, this movie, like, for the feels, I have not had feels like this since Rogue One. Like, I didn't really get any kind of emotional stuff in episode 7 or 8, and I'd never had that moment where I'm like, I was more angry when Han died in 7, but this movie had just those emotional beats that just hit me. Seeing Luke Skywalker, man, come back around, I was cracking up, man. You see right there that lightsaber in there, and he's like, that's not the way you treat a Jedi's weapon. And she's like, yeah, well, that's what you did. He's like, I was wrong. It's so good. Just so good. But
I'm not gonna lie though. I think the feels thing, I want to be a little bit cautious on it because I definitely got the feels, right? I'm right with you. But in the context of which one gave me like the better feels, and I'm putting better in quotes here, but between like Rogue One and this movie, right? A lot of the feels that I got from this movie was actually established by everything that happened in the original trilogy.
Yeah.
Because all of the feels came as a result of not only the fact that it included Leia, who was developed so well in the original trilogy, but the fact that you knew that Carrie Fisher was gone.
Yeah.
Right? And you see some of these goodbye scenes, and I don't know if they knew it or not, but it felt like they were doing a goodbye to Carrie Fisher and like all of these different moments, right? That's what kind of hit me more so than anything else. And you kind of get lost with Carrie Fisher being Leia really well in this. But that's why I would still say Rogue One is better in that feels because all the characters are basically new in Rogue One, right? And you still got that amount of like feeling.
Yeah, Rogue One's still my favorite. Yeah, Rogue One will still be my favorite.
This one was a lot of the feels and stuff, but a lot of it was nostalgia. Exactly. Like, it brought so much back, I think, to the true Star Wars fans and the ones that love the original trilogy. It brought a lot back from it, and I know that's a criticism, that there was a lot of parallels with episode 6.
I don't care.
But to me, it was like that's the way you should do it. Like everything should tie in, and it makes sense that everything in some way is kind of cyclical. And coming back with a lot of the stuff that you saw in the original trilogy, and then bringing it back into this, like the scene that actually hit me the most was, and it might be a little bit of a weird scene, but it was still kind of like my favorite one, when Luke started to bring up the X-wing.
Yes, and
I'm
they
like,
played the music from Empire. You're just like, oh my god!
And I can just picture like Yoda being just happy in the back.
Yeah, just
like this is what he did, right? So finally there was no do or do not, or there is no try, right? Either do or do not, and Luke did it here as a Force ghost coming in to do it, and that one was like my favorite scene in the whole movie.
Yeah. So we got a couple other people pop in here. Teals popped in. Teals, I guess you've seen the movie now, my friend.
Oh yes, I saw it at 9 o'clock on Thursday.
And what did you think?
I thought it was absolutely phenomenal. Every 5 minutes was a, oh my god, what? And then, oh no way! And then, oh, it's just nonstop roller coaster ride of fun.
Yes, I agree. Who else joined us here? Someone else popped in.
Miss Ouchie.
Ouchie girl, I see you there, pickle hater. Are you there, Ouchie girl?
Uno momento.
Uno momento from Ouchie. We'll get her thoughts on this. Some other stuff. Seeing Lando back was fantastic. I loved seeing Lando in there. They even had some cameos too. I think it was John Williams was the bartender in the cantina.
That's correct.
That was so great. And then seeing Wedge back. That one quick scene, I was like, yes!
Okay,
Wedge!
that was Wedge. I thought, I'm like...
It was Wedge! I was like, no way! What else? Just so much in this movie to talk about. I can't even...
mention the cameos of all the voices near the end.
Yeah, with Rey. Yeah, with all the Jedi speaking to her and stuff. I like that scene a lot. I like that it was voices. I mean, they could have gone a different way, and I think it would have worked too. I don't know. It may have been more powerful. Maybe like she sees Force Ghost of all these Jedi and stuff. But
I actually have that master list of every single voice that went through there, and it's crazy.
Yeah. So you heard Mace, you heard Anakin, you heard Kenobi.
You got Obi, both Ewan McGregor, Anakin, Ahsoka Tano, Kanan Jarrus, Luminara, Qui-Gon Jinn, Aayla Secura, Mace Windu, Adi Gallia, Yoda, and Luke.
Yeah, it was so powerful. You know, another scene that I just saw in the chat that I really thought was pretty cool was seeing the training scene between Luke and Leia. I thought that was so cool when they revealed Leia's lightsaber. You were going to say something, Finn?
Was that the first time that they ever showed Leia actually being trained in any way as a lightsaber? I don't remember her ever.
She's never been trained. She's been trained in the books, and in the EU, there she becomes a Jedi. But that was the first time we've ever seen her in that kind of capacity in any sort of way, which I thought was fantastic. So it was so good. I mean, if anything pops in your head, you want to start bringing up Finn or anybody, just go, because I'm still. This movie is
bring
so.
Up the Porgs and the Wicket.
There was Porgs in there. Yes, I know.
The Porgs were too close to the fire.
Yeah.
What about Wicket?
Close enough.
Yeah, I know. Good old, older Wicket, all happy at the end, seeing the explosion. I was like, yay.
Now it's been interesting to see, like, it's like night and day. You know, the Last Skywalker. A lot of the critics loved the Last Jedi. And then Rise of the Sky, and the fans didn't really like it. And this one's flipped. I've been looking at Rotten Tomatoes and some other scores, and the fans are really liking it a hell of a lot more than the critics. And what I would say to you guys is, just go watch it, make up your own mind. If you don't like it, you don't like it. If you do like it, you're gonna like it. I mean, some of the stuff that I've seen, some people just it's too much of a stretch for them. Like, what do you mean Palpatine's back? I just don't care. Like for me, the movie is action packed. It just. go, 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 go. And there's a lot of MacGuffins in here, but I just didn't care because it was fun. They were having fun, and they were on this adventure, and they're trying to fight evil. It just is what, to me, Star Wars is supposed to represent, and the battle between good and evil. I don't care that Rey's a Palpatine. I thought it was cool, and I thought it offered an interesting dynamic because this is kind of where all these movies have been. Kylo's a Skywalker, but he's fallen to the dark side, and Rey's a Palpatine, but she's trying to be pulled to the good side. I just love that kind of dynamic that you can only get in Star Wars. What were some other stuff? I'll just throw it out to everybody here. Some of the other stuff that really stood out to you, or cameos, or anything that you want to talk about.
The humor level of C-3PO.
Oh God, 3PO is so great,
absolutely amazing. And then one of the new characters, Babu Frick. Oh, he was hilarious.
I was like, who the hell's Babu? And then I saw that little girl. I was like, oh, that's who that is.
Between Babu Frick and Baby Yoda, we don't need anything more in Star Wars.
Get out of here.
I was cracking up with Poe and his bounty hunter love interest. Back and forth, just like, how about now? A kiss? Yeah, no.
Another cool scene was seen in the beginning of the movie. Rey being trained by Leia and calling her master. I thought that was really cool. God.
Yeah, utilizing that force scene, because that force scene was in deleted scenes from Last Jedi.
All of them were. So let me ask you guys about that. We all know as Star Wars fans that Carrie Fisher is no longer with us. The princess is no longer with us, but did it work for you knowing that, the way they did it with her scenes? I could tell a little bit, but it didn't really not pull me out of the movie at all. It still worked for me. I
think it enhanced it. Like I said, a lot of the feels that you got in this movie was because you knew Carrie was gone, right? And a lot of these scenes where they're basically saying goodbye to Carrie. And it's not just a goodbye to Leia, it's like a goodbye to Carrie. And you can see that these are almost like the emotions that, because they like the cast of Star Wars basically said it before, right? Like they were a family during a lot of this taping. Like the scene where Chewie comes back, right?
Oh my God, his agony!
And Chewie come back. Oh, exactly. God. The pain that he felt just
Oh my God, I almost lost it because I got teary when I saw Chewie because I was like, oh my God.
Because that was the way most of them were, right? Like they didn't get a chance necessarily to say goodbye to Carrie in the way that it was like cinematically choreographed in this, or most of them may not have even seen her in the days before her passing. So that reaction from Chewie is probably the most raw of all of the emotions, and to just see him just break down, this tough Wookiee that's fighting and was just captured and managed to escape the First Order or the Final Order, whatever you want to call him, and now he's back. And the first thing is,
I gotta give Junus respect on how he pulled that off.
Yeah,
that's so much physical body, putting that much emotion in, a suit with no face except for what they can animatronic was absolutely mind blowing.
I just another scene popped in my head. Yeah, it was all in chat. Hux' death. So Hux gets revealed to be the spy. And I love Poe's reaction to it. It was kind of like my reaction. It was like, what? They're all like, you're not.
I knew it all.
And they're like, no, you didn't. I love the banter between Finn and Poe, man. I thought those two were so good. And I love the banter between Finn, Poe, and Rey. It's like they're old friends. They've been fighting for a long time. They're war buddies. And you can just tell the camaraderie that those characters had with one another, because just the way they talk to each other. Like they bring after the first scene, and they bring the the Falcon back, and then Rey's been trained in the woods, and has a tree land on BB-8, and the dialogue between Poe and Rey, like, what'd you do to the Falcon? I was light speed skipping. Oh yeah, and she says it's on fire. Well, what happened to BB-8? Well, that's a lot worse. No, it's not. I was cracking up, man. Yeah. The humorness, I think, hits so much better.
Sentimental connection to ships, and his sentimental value to his buddy BB-8. It was like, what'd you do? No, what'd you do?
What'd you do? No, what'd you do? And they kept trying to change the subject and stuff, and oh my God, it was
okay. So how about initial reaction of Leia's Force lightning blowing up the carrier thought to have Chewie on it?
Yeah. She thought she killed Chewie. Yeah, that one.
There's
And
just a
at the
lot of
same
good...
moment, I've been very, everybody had their own opinion who Rey was. I've been, since episode 7, determined it was Palpatine, so this decision they made writing this movie made me so stoked. And I see the Force lightning, I'm like, oh my god, Palpatine, oh my god, Palpatine. And then it drops. I'm like, I literally like squealed in my chair. And I look over at my wife and she's like, you were right. Meanwhile, my son, he has his little stuffed Chewbacca he took because obviously he got to go too, and he got squeezed so tight. It's like, and then when you see him come back in the Star Destroyer, relieved, he's practically dancing in his chair, shaking Chewie at the screen. Oh, it was great.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of. There was a lot of. I liked a lot of the new characters that were introduced. Lando, God damn it, Billy D. Williams is just smooth malt liquor, man. Colt 45 and everywhere. Hey, tell Leia I said. Oh my god!
Chances that girl at the end is his daughter.
I mean,
how about we find out?
Yeah.
Wait a second. Which way you going? 45 and
I'm like, this is gonna end up one of Lando's daughters from one of the many,
one of his new baby mamas.
Yeah, he's probably something. Yeah, Lando's probably got a lot of baby mamas running around there. In the galaxy.
Opinion during the light skipping. Do you think it was?
I loved it.
The different spots they went through.
Cloud City was one. Let's see what else. I'm trying to think of the different planets. A couple I didn't recognize. Cloud City I definitely recognized.
I was thinking Coruscant was one of them too.
And did they go in Kessel? Because it looked like one of the creatures in the Kessel Run from like Solo, the tentacles, or did I?
With that big mouth creature, it almost seemed very similar.
It seemed similar to that. So,
but I was thinking Coruscant was one too, where it had all the little white beams they were weaving through. It seemed something out of the that scene in was it Clone Wars where Anakin and they were chasing Zam.
Oh, him and Kenobi. He's like, Anakin, how many times do I have to tell you?
They were trying to chase Zam or whatever, and it seemed like sort of through certain areas like that.
I'm trying to think. Just so much stuff in this movie. So many good feels. Ouchie girl, have you come back yet? She said uno momento.
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, Ouchie. We've been speaking and just covering thoughts. I'm going to open the floor to you, lovely Ouchie. What did you think of the movie? Your favorite things that you really enjoyed, or maybe
do you have an hour?
Yeah, go for
it. I don't think so, because we're supposed to be doing something else at 9,
we
right?
are supposed to do something at 9.
Overall, I saw it Friday morning, and I will have to say the first 30 minutes had me worried because of how it was setting up everything. Now everybody knows me. If you listen to RSG, you know I will defend The Last Jedi and Rian Johnson and Kathleen Kennedy, and that's like my thing because I really liked The Last Jedi. I even watched it again yesterday, and it really.
I've probably seen it at least 30, 40 plus times myself. I'm not going to bash any of the movies. I'm a Star Wars fan through thick and thin.
Yeah, it's definitely a different movie, and I know why it sets some people off, but I'm not trying to talk about that. I was thinking about the one of the things that people most point about is the Canto Bight thing, because it kind of takes you out. And it's like a mini story in the movie that, could have just been a short somewhere else, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the first 30 minutes kind of reminded me of like, oh my gosh, people aren't going to like this. And then I just started hearing all the people that complain all the time just in my head. It was really bad because it was just a lot of skipping around and like important points weren't given. Somebody said this, I think it was over in the hall, given time to breathe, to like you get forced like right at the beginning, like Kylo's on Mustafar. It's not even obvious that that's where he is, like where he's going through and slaughtering those people in that forest. That's Mustafar.
Was it Mustafar?
Yes, it is. But see, they don't even. It's so much skipping around, and they don't even establish that point.
Yeah. It felt to me like the beginning was like an Indiana Jones movie. Like it's just all this stuff, and then you're just like go 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 go. Right? You know,
it was a little too much go 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 go. But then somewhere it clicked, and I was on board. I'm like, all right, this is awesome. And then there was like points that were like really cool, and then something bad happened. I'm like, that's awful. And then I started like my reactions and my emotions were just starting to go up and down and up and down, and it went that way through the end of the movie. And it was exhausting. It was really, because when I came on the lunch in the lunch stream chat, and I just said, "Oh my God, I have whiplash," because it was so good, but then something happened that made me really sad, and it's something that I was hoping for the last 5 years, so 4 or 5 years.
What's
which
that?
is Rey and Kylo
Rey
getting
love.
together.
Yes, Rayleigh.
And
The kiss of death.
it lasted all of 5 seconds, and there was 2 times in the movie where I actually said something out loud. I don't usually talk during movies, but one was Chewie getting his medal,
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god.
and I just exclaimed, "He got his medal!"
But didn't he get it in the 1997 MTV Music Awards?
But that's true.
I don't know if that's canon really, but
no,
yeah.
not really. No.
The other time was Rey and Kylo, and I was all in that moment, and they teased it out before they, started smooching. Like there was just enough tension of will they or won't they? Are they going there? Or no? Are they doing this? No. That was perfectly set up. And then as soon as Kylo started to fall over, I just yelled out, "Oh, you're killing me, JJ."
You wanted them to live happily ever after. You didn't want the Romeo
And then
and Juliet.
because I was saying this to Kalessin the other night. In Star Wars, there's always a similar kind of trope, right? A similar sort of pattern. There's, things you see in every Star Wars movie. And it seems like at the end of every trilogy, there's a sacrifice and someone died and got redeemed. That always happens. So I was like, it would be really great if in this last one, we subvert expectations and there's not that. Like there's the redemption, but then everybody's together and they live happily ever after.
For me, I liked it a lot. I mean, I love the fact that Kylo became Ben Solo again, and it felt right the way they did it and the way they showed him, like
and the way how it happened
and how it
took
happened.
The sacrifice of his mother.
His mother's sacrifice caused him to feel again, and then that scene with Han Solo, you get why he was like, and I love how they played it out again. It was a memory, but it was a memory of him making that choice again, and then throwing his lightsaber, and just his.
I give such credit for Harrison Ford. I thought he was done, and he came in. And
he came in like a boss, man. He played that scene.
Tears and all. I'm like, oh.
That was the part that really made me cry that moment, and a lot of people I think are confused about why Han Solo is appearing as a Force ghost.
It's not a Force ghost.
You gotta understand,
he's a memory.
He's not a Force ghost.
That was full skin. That was a memory.
That was just a vision, kind of like Rey seeing herself as evil. It was it was in her head.
Yeah.
We just got to see it.
Yeah, and then you see him become Ben Solo, and then him making the sacrifice. Rey sacrifices herself first by killing Palpatine. She sacrificed her life. Ben, in his redemption, saves Rey, and becomes a Jedi again fully, and goes into the Force, which I really loved. He redeemed himself, right? And I thought it was well done. I thought it was well executed.
Oh my god!
After seeing that Force connection where they were literally able to tangibly grab things,
yeah, that was threw me off a little bit. I was like, I don't know about this
initial
shit.
setup. I'm like, what's going on? Oh, I only know why you did it. The lightsaber swing.
Mm-hmm.
That happened a little bit in Last Jedi too, right? Because he appeared,
grabbed hands.
Yeah.
They grabbed hands, and also that one where she called him like the murderous snake, and it was like she was outside and it was really raining on Ahch-To, and his hand his gloved hand got all wet.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
So the rain had come through. So I thought that was really cool. But on the topic of Kylo, also just before the lightsaber teleports thing, where he comes running in with his blaster like his dad, right?
Mm-hmm.
He knows he's running into this ancient Sith powerhouse, and his Knights of Ren are coming out, and he's just running in there with a blaster. He didn't have anything else on him, but he was going to go. I'm like, that's awesome.
He had the Force too, because he started using the Force.
Yes, but he didn't have his
he didn't have
weapon.
But he had his Knights of Ren. He had to go against.
When the Knights of Ren all surrounded him, and he was getting ready to take them on, and he just looks at them all at the corner of his eyes, and then just shrugs like, "All right, here we go."
Let's rock and roll, gentlemen.
That was awesome. Yeah. Let's do this.
And then when he got the lightsaber, that smirk, he gave that little bow. I was like. Mm-hmm. You just this question: people's thoughts on Palpatine lightning the sky. That's nothing for Palpatine. If you've ever read the books, Palpatine could create black holes on planets and destroy them. I mean, that's
you think about stuff that like Nihilus could do and all that too.
I mean, the Sith.
I'd say my opinion on him doing that. Oh, it was absolutely awesome.
It was sick. You know,
level of Sith power. That's I say that's semi-pro level. There's even crazier things he could do, but I thought it was great.
Yeah. I think the misstep there is not that he could do that in that movie, but that in the original trilogy we never got to see really how powerful he was.
No, it's all in the books that you read about how powerful he really was.
So for a lot of people it would probably seem a little outlandish because we never got to see truly how far he could do. Besides shock Luke a bunch of times. I'm like, big whoop.
Yeah, Palpatine's power in the Force is ridiculous. Like he could do.
Speaking of which, sorry.
Go ahead, Tails.
Oh, thinking the whole beginning. How many clone bodies of Snoke there was in that?
I love that.
Was there two? I saw two, at least two.
Yeah, at least two. But it's like
it reminded me of Alien Resurrection when they were trying to make the hybrid of Ripley and the Xenomorph, and there was a lab with all the failed experiments.
So I mean, it was one of those things. Explain Snoke real quick. I mean, I think Miss Snoke was mishandled, but it is what it is, right? So again, there's a lot of stuff in here that you can kind of go through. Is this a perfect movie? No. But it's a fun movie, and that's the thing I had a problem with Last Jedi. I mean, I like Last Jedi. It's not one of my favorite movies, but I liked it. It was good, but I didn't have nearly in the sheer amount of actually Force Awakens and this one. There were some moments of Force Awakens I had fun and enjoyed, but I didn't have a lot of those in 8, and I can tell you that 9 blows both those away. I mean, between the emotional roller coaster, like you said, Alchie, and just the fun of it. I had fun, and I enjoyed the jokes. I think the comedy works. It was natural, it was organic, it wasn't trying to be forced or anything. It just felt like just normal banter between people, and I thought it was fantastic, and that's why I really like this movie. I think this is my favorite out of the sequel trilogy. This one is my favorite out of the 3. And this one's up there for one of my favorite movies. I still think Rogue One and Empire are still ahead of me. I think Revenge of the Sith is still a little bit ahead for me. But I'd probably put this at like 4 or 5 for me. Probably go...
I'd say at least 3 or 4.
Star Wars original and then this one. So it's that good for me. Just because I had fun. I mean, it's a Star Wars movie. And that's what we're there to do, is have fun. I mean, the scene where all the ships come in and I saw Wedge, I was screaming like I was like, kick that ass, man. What else is there?
So did you think Janna was part of the same group of Finn's people that were pulled into the Empire?
No, I don't think they're the same group, but I think it was just a different contingent of stormtroopers because their call signs were different. He's FN and she was something else. And I just think that shows that there was
then
more
again,
than just
she had
Finn.
the English accent, and he didn't, so it could have been.
Yeah, I mean, and that in just I just think that it was nice to see. A lot of the stuff worked. I mean, so the stuff that, the whole Palpatine in the beginning, I was like, what? Like you just going right in there. You're just jumping right in right there. All right, we're gonna go right into Palpatine. And at first, I was like, I was really hesitant. I'm like, and then I heard Palpatine's voice. I was like, yeah, I don't care. He's there. I love Palpatine. Like, yes, get them all, kill them. I was just like, yeah, that works. Yeah, it's fine. And I love that entrance of Kylo into that Sith that Sith area, and seeing the Palpatine again. It just works for me. I know it's a little bit of a leap of faith there. Like all those questions I brought in the beginning. Well, where's he been? How come he's not doing anything with that? And how do you survive the Death Star? So, I mean, there's all these other questions, but I mean, I don't really care. He was the villain, and it works for me. Finn, you've been quiet for a little bit. What are you thinking about that there, bud?
I'm trying to remember if I remember General Pride from anything.
Oh, he's been in a ton of movies.
No. I mean, actually, any of the Star Wars, because he said, "Yeah, as I served you in the old wars, I serve you now." Right?
He's not a name.
I don't recall him anywhere in the original trilogy.
I think he probably served, but he was probably, with the time difference and stuff, probably like a young officer or something along those lines. But it's not a name that popped in that I could remember.
Only because I thought the death of Puck was a little anticlimactic. Where I thought they would have, so maybe it's because it was spoiled a little bit with everything that happened with oh god, what's his name? In Rebels, that was the Fulcrum. The betrayer there. Who was the Fulcrum in Rebels? I can't remember. Callus. That's the one. So I was expecting a little bit more development to what was going to happen to him, maybe because I was thinking of like how Thrawn dealt with Callus and basically trapped him and then questioned him and did all these things, right? This was basically just Pride going, pew, and he was dead.
I loved it because before that, what really pissed me off is like Hux is like, why he's doing is like, because I want Kylo Ren to lose. I'm like, well, piss on you, buddy. And then he came up like, they got away, my lord. Bam. I was like, that's what you get, turd muffin. Good. Shoot him in the face next time. So, speaking of Rogue One, it's on TNT right now. I just looked up and I'm like, oh, well, there's Rogue One. All right, we're going to start wrapping this up because we got to get ready for the Twitch stream with some Santa Durgan's coming to town. Final thoughts. If I was to give this a score, I'd probably go 8.5 out of 10. I really liked it a lot. I thought it was really good. There's some stuff that, and I don't have any problem with anybody who didn't like this as much and has issues with some of the plot points and things of that nature, or MacGuffins or anything like that. I just don't care, about those things. So I had fun, and that's what I want to do when I go to a Star Wars movie is have fun, and I had a lot of fun with it. So I give this between like a 8.5. Finn, if you were going to rate this out of 10, what would you give it? You're muted, by the way, buddy.
Sorry, probably 8.5.
8.5. Okay. What about you, Kyrell?
I'll give it a solid 7.
7, good. Okay. Teals, what would you give it?
Give it a solid 8.71.
8.71. Of course.
Wait, what?
And then Ouchie Girl, what would you give it?
It could have been a 10.
Yeah, 8.5.
But is it?
You wanted more development of Reylo.
Yeah, I needed more Reylo. So I'm going to dock 2 points for just that.
Oh, so you're going to go about 8 out of 10?
Yeah, 8's a good one.
Yeah, and that's about where the audience is. They're giving it's an 86 on Rotten Tomatoes from the audience score last time I checked. So pretty solid from the fans. Critics were about 57 on it. It's just one of those movies, if you just go there and have fun with it, and you can enjoy it, and it works for you.
I'll add this though. So as a movie, right? And we had a couple of questions, so I'll just ask these.
Sure,
here.
Go ahead.
Nev has a question that said, "My dad's not watching episodes 7 or 8. Should I make him watch them before the movie tomorrow, or do you think it would be nice to get an opinion of episode 9 from someone who's not seen the first 2?" I would say make him watch it, right? You get no backstory to anything related to Kylo and
you
Ren.
won't have those emotional connections to like Rey or Kylo or stuff like that. So yeah, you probably want to watch
definitely
it.
you gotta watch them.
I would say at least 7. I mean, if you want to skip 8, because they undid some of the stuff in 8 with 9 in some ways,
Finn,
I would watch all of them.
I want to know, what did they undo? Because everybody's saying stuff like this, and I don't get it.
No. They undid some of the stuff with regards to how they developed some of the characters, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, how? What did they do?
Well, like, they fixed Rose.
Yeah, they totally did a 180 on Rose.
They did a 180 on Rose entirely.
They did a 180 on Hux.
They did a 180 on Hux. Hux became a traitor. They also, to some extent, changed Poe a little bit, where Poe was already put in kind of a command position with Holdo, already kind of like berating him. And then all of a sudden he comes back and still doesn't seem to have that general mentality until he comes back and Leia's dead. So it seems like every single time Poe is put into any leadership position, despite the fact that he's leading like his whole group for most of the movie, he should have learned more from episode 8 than he did going into 9. And it took really the death of Leia for him to really come around to it. I thought they basically negated any development that he had with Holdo as part of episode 8 with the start of episode 9.
They changed
Those are like the 3 characters in particular that I saw kind of like a regression from everything that happened in 8.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of some other stuff. There's just so much information that my brain just can't process it fast enough. It's just like, I have more I could say, but I just don't care.
I would still watch both of them,
yeah,
though. Either way, I would still watch. I would say that it's better to watch both of them because you do get a little bit of a backstory to all of the characters and understand them a little bit more.
Yeah.
So I like all of them. So.
All right. So any other questions, Finn? Before we wrap this up?
Yeah, we had one other question, and that was from Rooster. He says, question, how would you have liked it if this movie was episode 8 and episode 9, but more in-depth? I think episode 8 provided some stuff that was good. I think it was kind of, I don't know, it's hard to make heads or tails of some of these things. So it felt like whoever, and in this case, J.J. Abrams, right, had a thought process as to what he wanted as part of the direction of episode 9, saw some things in episode 8 that he had to integrate, and to some extent tried to explain away some of the stuff that happened in that movie too.
I mean, yeah.
So it was, I mean, I don't necessarily mind it. I think episode 8 served a purpose, and there's a little bit of a gap in continuity, but in some ways, for the Star Wars franchise, I actually like it. Because, and I mentioned this to Ranger as soon as I got out of the movie, like you go into episode 9, you sit down, right? It says Star Wars. You hear it's like, yay, it's starting. And the first thing you hear, the first thing you see is the scrolling text. And then it says
the dead.
Emperor Palpatine is sending like a radio transmission. I'm like, what the hell? What? Wait, what? There was no development whatsoever to Palpatine between 8 and 9. And all of a sudden it's like Emperor Palpatine has been sending a radio transmission. Like
no foreplay.
Basically, if you didn't see any of the previews, you come in completely blind.
Exactly. So I'm like, in some ways, for the Star Wars franchise, it's like, okay, this is kind of cool because between episode 8 and 9, you can almost make a whole series, almost like Clone Wars type thing.
Yeah,
right. So you have a whole area of development.
There's so much. That's what I'm saying. You have got to go into this like you can't. If you want to enjoy the movie, you just got to let that shit go. Seriously, because the Palpatine stuff like could bother me, but it just doesn't because the movie is so much fun. Initially, I was kind of like, "Wow!" I
became 5 years old and I couldn't control.
Just going right in it for me, right? So I mean, but once I was just like, okay, let's see what they do with it, and I just had fun, and I just don't care because Finn, you're right. We could sit here and talk another hour about Palpatine himself. And this, all of a sudden, he's there, and this, like, the whole dynamic, like, all these questions, but I just don't care because the movie's so much fun, and I had fun with it. I love the characters. I think this, through the sequel trilogy, it's been Rey and Kylo's story. We talk about The Last Jedi. The Last Jedi, the issues I had was just some of the Cantabite stuff didn't work for me. There was some stuff in that movie that just didn't work for me. There's stuff in that movie that really did work for me. So I'm not one of those Last Jedi haters. I'm not one of its biggest proponents by any means. But through it all, this is the story of Kylo and Rey. And it ended on that side, and I love the way they ended it. Ben Solo came back. He redeemed himself. In
Did
Rey's
you notice
story,
the physical transformation too, by the way, to show that Ben Solo is back? That scene after Rey stabbed Kylo, right? And she healed him. If you notice, his scar is gone.
His scar is gone. That's right. Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She completely
healed everything, and his scar was gone, and that almost signaled the return of Ben. And when she left and everything, it was like, yeah,
Can we mention episode 7 Mandalorian here?
No, because we're going to do another. We'll do another show about that. Plus, we got to start flipping over because we get ready for Santa Durgan.
I'll save it.
Coming to play with you, Santa Durgan. Do 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 do. But yeah, I mean, it's just one of those movies that just go have fun. Take your family; they're going to enjoy it. It's especially if you're a Star Wars fan. And listen, guys, we always say this. Some people do not like this movie, and I respect it. And I know why, because I can step out of my position. Like, nobody here is saying, if you don't like the movie, you're wrong. Because I understand why you may not like what they did. And I get it. And there's some things here. It's very rushed. It's very convoluted. It's just... right? And it's just bam, and you're just going nonstop the entire movie, and for some people that's off-putting, and so I understand it. I mean, the Palpatine things, all the stuff I've been seeing online, I get, right? For me, that stuff didn't bother me. It doesn't bother me, but the cool thing is, film is subjective. Everybody's got a different opinion on stuff. Some stuff that works for some people does not work for others. So I encourage you to see the movie. It's well worth it. It's extremely entertaining. The score is fantastic. John Williams does it again. He just those hits of those music just make it so much better. And the visuals are incredible. It's just a fun movie. Go have fun with it, guys. And if you don't like it, that's okay. It's totally fine. We all have. There's people I know that love the prequels. I can't stand the first 2 episodes of the prequels. I think they're garbage. And that's okay. That's just my opinion, right? I love Revenge of the Sith, though. That's one of my favorites. But the first 2, I just can't... like, Attack of the Clones was on earlier. I was like, mute. I walk out in the background.
You need something to build into the Senate.
I was like, mute.
The Senate wouldn't be anywhere as impactful if it wasn't for episode 1 and 2.
As soon as I heard, I was like, wait, is that Attack of the Clones? And I heard, I hate sand. It's Ghost. I was like, oh, hell no, episode 2. Mute. So, all right. That being said, we're going to close this one. It's time to go do some Santa Durganing. I'm excited for this. Oh, my God. And where can folks check that out, Finn?
On Twitch.
Ooh. So in 12 minutes, we have the rise of Santa Durgan. My apprentice goes forth again. So make sure you guys check that out. We're going to go have fun, and we're going to go laugh our ass off, because who's going to be on to that? That's going to be you, Durgan. Who else is going to be there?
Grim is going to be there.
Uh-huh.
Ouchie's going to try and be there.
Okay.
And so is Maz.
Maz Kanata. She's my fave. All right. So with that, that's a review of The Last Skywalker. The Rise of Skywalker. I'm getting my movies kind of mixed up. The Rise of Skywalker. Let us know what you guys think. And there's nothing wrong with that. Just be respectful of everybody's opinion. If someone didn't like it, they didn't like it. If you loved it, you loved it. But be respectful. You don't put up with this crap like, well, you're an idiot. No, get the hell out of here with that nonsense. Remember, film's subjective. We all have an opinion. So that's just our opinion. That doesn't mean anything. They're just telling you what we like.
Ignore the tabloid skewed reviews. Go see it for yourself.
Yeah, I listen to critics just to get an idea of what they think that I respect. Some people that I don't care what they say. I'm just going to be like, not bothering with you anymore. So, but yeah, so just whatever you just, it's worth the money. I think it's worth paying to go see. We all enjoyed it. We had a good time. We're huge diehard Star Wars fans. Please go check it out. Make your own opinion. And enjoy the let the Star Wars just wash over you. So with that, we're going to call this one done. We'll see you guys on the flip side in a few minutes on Twitch. Have a great rest of your night, and we will holler at you later. Peace.